each of our speakers get some final thoughts they'd like to share with our attendees before we close out today. Michael, would you like to begin since you started us off?
Sure, absolutely. I think there's been a lot thrown at you. I know an hour and a half is a long time to focus on tax for sure, but I think the discussion we tried, Mike and Martin and I tried to make this very practical, right, and try to make this really something where we get out of the code and we basically say, here's how you need to deal with this. So my comments would be, don't brush this under the rug. I mean, you have to deal with it, right? And getting out in front of it is better than kind of doing it last minute. And I know that, there are some people that are listening and there's some disaster relief provisions around the country, and they may have a little more time to kind of file returns and all of that. So take advantage of that time if that is your situation, and make sure that you understand and deal with this, because as Mike and Martin said, there are ways to do this in the best light possible. So, and if you're under the gun for 915, again, get a very good provider and don't brush this under the rug. Make sure you look at it and keep monitoring this. Stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot of development in this, as Martin said, in the next year or so.
Thank you so much, Michael, Silvio, an excellent presentation and those closing remarks. I'd like to turn now to Mike Woeber for your thoughts for our attendees.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. We've talked about how this 174 concept is a broad concept, and I think you're hearing that it could lead to a really big number for taxpayers. I would encourage you to do this analysis as Michael recommends. Jump on it, get ahead of it, do the analysis. But remember, it's your business. It's how you look at your R&D activity and what costs specifically you allocate or have justification not to allocate to the R&D effort. We've seen some pretty good results when you really look closely at the costs and how you allocate them. So it sounds like it's a lot of bad news, but you have control over your own costs and how they're allocated. Just remember that.
Thank you, Mike Woeber. Excellent presentation. And let's move on now to our final presenter, Martin Karamon. Any final closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, we talk a lot about there not being a lot of guidance. I mean, 174 has been around since 1955. So there is work that has been done with the analysis of 174. So I don't think a taxpayer is going to get out of doing this because they said there's not a lot of guidance. There is case law, there's stuff out there that they can follow. So my point with that is, but in this new paradigm, because there's not that much clear guidance with respect to capitalization and amortization, you have flexibility and you can find a reasonable method to do your best to minimize it, but you have to do the work. My other point, if anybody tells you, as Michael alluded to, that if you don't claim a research credit, you don't have to do this, please fire them. It's just absolutely wrong. And you should find somebody else to work with. They'd be more than happy to. So absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for letting me talk today. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Martin Karamon, Mike Woeber, and Michael Silvio for being with us